So what you're giving us is you decry, and people decry vaccine hesitancy. It's coming from the gobbledygook that you give us. You're not paying attention to the science. The very basic science is that previous infection provides a level of immunity. If you ignore that in your studies, if you don't present that in your committees, you're not being truthful or honest with us.
Senator, if I might respond, I have never, ever denied fundamental immunology. In fact, I wrote the chapter in the textbook of medicine on fundamental immunology.
Rand Paul, the quack former witch doctor, just loves to be an annoying pest to Dr. Fauci. You see, when Paul couldn't cut the mustard in the medical field, he figured why not jump into MAGA Republican politics, a field in which not knowing a thing about science is a feature, not a flaw, because the only science in MAGA land is a science of pure propaganda.
Okay, there are two aspects for what you said. You keep saying you approve, you do this, you do that. The committees that give the approval are FDA through their advisory committee. The committees that recommend are CDC through their advisory committee.
When all these suit and tie bankers and businessmen who've never worked a day in their lives, you know, the people who make up the Republican Party, realize that honest working people might not be able to carry their sorry butts like they always have because of serious pandemic, yeah, well, they had to drum up some con to save the fate of their precious stocks and investments. And so, to save their poor manicured hands from ever developing a callus, they tried to con working people into believing that COVID was some clever deception, a falsehood, a conspiracy theory.
And you keep saying, I'm the one that's approving a vaccine based on certain data. So I don't really understand, with all due respect, Senator.
You're the one that said you would not reveal what companies gave you royalties or what company gave the other scientists royalties.
Got to move on.
That's what you told the committee.
Senator Paul,
Sir,
got to move on.
Could I please answer that?
Briefly,
you
yes.
keep asking committees. They're not my committees. They're the VRPAC committee for the FDA and the ACIP for the CDC. So I don't have any idea what goes on.
And they won't reveal, as well as you won't reveal.
Okay,
what
we're gonna move on. We're over time. Senator Paul, you're over. Everyone is over a little bit. I just want to make sure we keep on time here.
They all said, go to work so we don't have to. They weren't about to risk getting COVID themselves, and they sure as hell didn't care if several million people died, so long as their money was safe and sound. And to do this, they had to vilify everyone actually telling the truth, and they made Dr. Fauci their top target. This poor guy became public enemy number one of the radical MAGA wackos simply because he was honest and spoke facts, because that's the undoing of the entire MAGA fascist movement. Truth is their bane, and after all this, the annoying pest Rand Paul is still rabid, foaming at the mouth with insane anti-science rants and an animal hatred of Dr. Fauci. As you see in this clip, Paul is putting on quite the little scene, flailing his arms around like a puny, putrid pantomime, because Paul knows his argument has no substance, and his only substitute is to put on a show. A ridiculous game of smoke and mirrors is really what drives the MAGA movement. These shameless politicians realize they don't have to do their jobs at all if they focus all their energy on conning people with ridiculous posturing, emotional outbursts, and boneheaded rhetoric. Providing a sensible, rational argument is not even a consideration. Stoking boiling rage from their followers is their substitute. I have to imagine Dr. Fauci is sick of putting up with insane MAGA politicians like Rand Paul. He definitely didn't sign up to arguing the simplest facts with the dumbest of morons as part of his distinguished career. This man could be spending his time solving problems and benefiting mankind, but instead, thanks to Rand Paul, he's stuck explaining why 2 + 2 = 4 to drooling Neanderthals and politicians suffering from the incurable disease of narcissism and raw avarice. And you know what? That's simply never going to stop. It's never going to stop until people all across this country say, I'm sick of gifting my tax money to Rand Paul's pockets. I'm sick of Rand Paul and his entire office of deadweight deadbeats using the total sums of their salaries spinning asinine lies when they could be solving real problems. It's never going to stop until every last American says, I'm sick of MAGA fascism, and it's never going to exist on American soil ever again. And folks, that's just what the doctor calls for, and that's a fact. Sappers clear the way, everyone all the way.